Here we are, welcome back guys. In today's video we are going to continue with intrusion detection, and in this video I'm gonna finish up the rest of the tasks. So basically what we're gonna talk about today, practically we're gonna talk about how we can detect, or how IDSs detect exploitation attempts by visiting task number 7, and how an IDS would also be able to detect privileged escalation reconnaissance. It means when you're looking for privileged escalation vectors using automated tools or using manual methods. So we're going to be able to touch on that in this video. Some of the tasks here we might not be able to get results as laid down here, so I'm going to demonstrate that as well. So let's start with task 7. In the previous video we covered scanning and reconnaissance, and we saw how different techniques using Nmap and Nikto would generate different levels of alerts depending on the evasion tactic used in the command. Now we have an exploit here, so we're going to see how the IDS reacts to running an exploit against the target. So basically here, regardless of the type of the exploit here, we're gonna just go ahead and download this exploit, run this against the target, and see which IDS would generate alerts. So what I have here, if I make this bigger, I have Wazuh and I have Suricata. It's worth mentioning that Suricata is network IDS, however Wazuh is a host-based IDS. So Wazuh will be able to detect and generate alerts for all the activity that would happen on the host, on the end host, but wouldn't be able to detect traffic or network activity. So Wazuh will be able to tell you that if there are file changes, registry changes, or malware execution on the host level. However, Suricata will be able to discover malicious activity on the network level. So it's very important to make this distinguish between Wazuh and Suricata. Okay, so we have this exploit now. We can download this one and see how they will react to it. Okay, it's gonna run a new tab, make this bigger. So I have the exploit downloaded here already. So when I run this now against the target, it will run over the network. Since here in the command, as you can see, I am targeting the IP address on port 3000 in order to be able to read commands on the file system. So this attack is happening on the network. So I would expect Wazuh to remain silent, alright, and Suricata to fill the log with alerts. So basically let's try this one. Let's go back and clear everything from here. So log out and create a new account. Grab the access token, log in. Alright, so now I have clean score. Let's now run the exploit. So here is the command, let's copy that, and we're interested in knowing what is the reason for the exploit being successful on the target. We're interested in seeing and investigating the alerts that it will generate. So F, and here we go. So here -F, we decide what kind of file we would like to read. So let's start with etc password. So now we're able to read the password file. Let's see now if we have alerts generated. So up until now we have 0 alerts. Okay, let's try now to be more aggressive and try to read the shadow file. So shadow Okay, so now we are able to read the shadow file. Let's investigate now the alerts. So normally when we run an exploit and we request to read a sensitive file such as the shadow file, we would expect an IDS to generate an alert, but up until now I don't see any alerts generated by Suricata, so this is weird, as I saw actually Suricata generating some alerts in my previous attempt. So let's wait a bit and let's now proceed to read different file. The file that I would like to read now is etc Gravana init. So this is the configuration file of the Gravana installed on the target. So what we are being asked here is to find the password of the admin account. We believe that the password of the admin account of the Gravana web or the Gravana CMS is actually written somewhere in this file. So instead of just reading through all of this, I'm gonna run this and pipe this to grep and grab the word admin. As you can see here, we are able to see the admin password and just grabbing the word 32. So this is the password that is requested. Is it possible to gain direct access to the server now that Gravana admin password is known? Yes. So what you can do here, you can go ahead and log in to the SSH server using Gravana admin as the user and the password we have just found as the password. Are any of the attached IDS able to detect if the attack if the file etc shadow is requested via the exploit? If so, what IDS is detected? Now the first time I run this, Suricata was able to find out that I requested the etc shadow file through the exploit, but weird enough this time I cannot see any alerts generated, so it is my luck. Alright, so that is for this task, and you see here how can IDSs react to exploitation attempts. Now the next task here, they talk about the host-based IDS. I'm going to dedicate a separate video on host-based IDSs. We're going to talk about them, but here it is telling you that if host-based IDSs will not be able to detect malicious activity or on the network level, if you run nmap scan against a target host, okay, there are high chances that Wazuh will be able to detect the scan. Let's try this. Take this, and here we are scanning the target itself. Although this is happening over the network, we don't expect Wazuh to find the attack, but let's see now. Run this on a separate tab, I guess, here. So paste. Okay. Now let's see the alerts here. Now we will expect the score to go up a bit as the scan progresses. Now this time, as you can see, that both RDSs were able to spot the scan, Suricata and Wazuh. So the reason for that is Suricata is actually a network IDS, so it's by default able to see all the activity happening on the network. But Wazuh, since it's not an IDS, it wasn't expected to detect the scanning activity, but since the scanning activity was targeted against a single host and Wazuh is an HIDS, it was able to classify the nmap scanning in the category of web. And as you can see, the reason for that is written in the message, web server 400 error code. So when we scan a target using nmap and we use the scripting engine, we generate a lot of 400 error code. Okay, and that's why Wazuh is able to find that and generate alerts. So here the question is, what category does Wazuh place HTTP 400 error codes in? It is web. And here play around with some post exploitation tools. Okay, there's no question required here. So that's the distinct, actually that's the distinct difference between IDS and HIDS and NIDS. The rest of the tasks are just to do privilege escalation and grab the root flag. But it's worth mentioning that even when you guys do privilege escalation recon, meaning that you try to look for privilege escalation vectors using either lin piece or manual methods, HIDS or host space IDS should be able to spot you on that. Since Wazuh as an HIDS will monitor the file system changes and monitor all the activity happening on the file system and the registry on all the changes, it will be able to detect if you load lin piece, and sometimes it will be able to find out if you're running sudo-l or you're enumerating the groups. So that's why it's always recommended, if you know that if the target has an IDS installed, try to avoid automated tools such as lin piece, as it would be detected immediately by an IDS such as Wazuh. So regarding the answers, so if you run lin piece now on the target, so I have run lin piece on a separate tab. You can go ahead and run lin piece, by the way, guys, and you find among the results is that Docker is one of the privilege escalation vectors, and that lin piece triggered alerts on Wazuh, as I told you a while, with the severity being 5. So basically, if you look at Wazuh alerts, you see they are actually they have different severity levels, with 5 being the lowest. So 5 is the lowest and 1 is the highest. Now here you perform privilege escalation. It's actually straightforward. Just grab this command and you will be actually mounting the root file system, add yourself to the sudo words, and then you grab the root flag. So the point of all of this is that IDSs detect 2 kinds or 3 kinds of activity, and based on that they generate alerts. The first thing, as we saw in the previous video, if you haven't watched it, go ahead and do it, is the scanning and reconnaissance. So these kind of activities are highly spotted by network IDSs such as Suricata, and then we have exploitation attempts. If they're happening over the network, you will see also Suricata generating alerts since it is network IDS. If you're talking about actions such as privilege escalation recon, as they are conducted locally on the system, the alerts will be generated by an HIDS, which was, as you can see, Wazuh. So that is the end of this video and the end of this room. I will be talking about Wazuh in a separate video, guys. So I hope you guys like this, and I will definitely see you in the next video.